So this is the morning after that I've sprayed the bumper, which I put a video together already for that. Just come down to inspect it a little bit. Yeah, I'm actually quite pleased with the finish. The orange peel is not quite as bad as I first thought. It will need to be sanded down and polished, but anyway, I'll set that aside for a bit now and concentrate on one or two other jobs in the meantime. So first job I want to tackle is actually with these pieces here that bolt into the front of the bumper. The bolts that I had on this piece here, they snapped off when I was removing it. I did lever it out this bit with a Stanley knife, and as you can see there's a piece of metal holding it all in place there. So I'll try and remanufacture this piece of metal, cut another piece of metal, weld two more bolts into it like that, and then pack it in to this front part of the bumper here with probably with silicone. I think I'll have to remove some more of these things here, but yeah. So I'm just going to mark exactly there where these bolts are supposed to be sticking out from, so that I can line it up properly later. So it's there, and there. So then I need to mark out and cut a strip of metal roughly the same size as that. So that's the piece cut. What I'll do is hammer it flat with a hammer, obviously. So I've put a bit of masking tape on the bit of metal that I've cut. I'm going to measure it, and this is where it's supposed to go on this side. So I'm going to put the markings by putting it in situ in place there. Marked up and ready to drill. So I've drilled it up to 6mm, and these are the bolts I'm going to be using, so they fit quite well. And I think the next stage then is to secure that with a nut. Well, I'll clean them up first actually, that's probably the first thing I'm going to do. I'll remove the rust around it and yeah, make it so I'll use a wire brush for that I think. I'll just use one of those components there, clean it up properly with the wire brush on the end of the drill. Yeah, it's cleaned up quite nicely, so let me try those bolts for tolerance and then I'll weld them into place. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So I'll clean up these poor looking wells with an angle grinder. So I've given that a grind down with the angle grinder, tidied it up a bit. Again, let's see how it fits. Pretty good. So I think I'll proceed to paint it now before attempting to mount it back in the plastic bit. So I just painted that with a brush. You're not going to see it anyway, so that's what I painted it with. Let that dry a bit and then try and put it back into seal it. I found this construction adhesive lying around, and I thought I'd try and see if that will work to keep it in place. And yeah, I mean, it's seen better days, this stuff. It's been lying around for a couple of years now, and there is a little bit of flexibility in there. It's more like a rubbery sort of compound. I'll chuck that away now, I think, and I've packed it into there, so hopefully that'll keep it in place. I'll leave it to dry for a couple of hours, and yeah, and come back to it. I'll trim it off a bit so it sits more flush on the bumper, all that stuff. But let's see how that works. Anyway, the stuff I used before didn't work very well. It kind of shrank and didn't stick either, so I basically removed that and filled it with silicone, and I'm pretty pleased with the results of that. It looks a bit untidy from that side, but you won't see that anyway. But that's not coming out. That's going to go straight back on. Well, I'm going to clean it up a bit. I'll sand it down, repair a bit of damage there and there, paint it, and so I'll get on with that. As this morning, it's been. I don't think I'll be doing too much work on the car outside. Yeah, it's had a bit of a dumping of snow overnight, so yeah, there won't be too much going on out here. I was hoping to screw a few things back onto the car, but I don't think I will, obviously, now. But anyway, I'll get on with the jobs inside. I'll probably do the other little plastic bit as well, and screw the bumper pieces together. So I was humming and ahhing about whether to do the second one or not, but I've removed it, I've cut it out, and as you can see, that's worse for wear. So yeah, I'm glad I did actually start doing that. I've already made the piece, it's over here. So that's the metal piece there that's going to fit in. I've just painted it with a brush like I did the other one, with this protection, anti-rust protection, and yeah, put bolts in, welded them in. So what I'll do now is, with the other one, it's slightly damaged. There's been bumped something at some time, so I'm going to angle grind these bits out and see what I've got. Decide whether I'm going to fill it with fiberglass or something like that, or even just the resin mix. But yeah, let me get on with that. Yeah, it's taken off some of the plastic there with the angle grinder, and I'm seeing that it's gone down to the substance that was it was filled with. So I will mix a bit of fiberglass on there and repair it a little bit that way. So I've put some fiberglass there. Also coated them both in resin to keep the consistency consistent. And there's not a lot I can do there now until they dry, and then I give them a bit of a sand down, put a bit of plastic primer on there. So in the meantime, I'll probably concentrate on other jobs. And yeah, when I was stripping the bumper, I was wondering what these little screw holes were here for, and thanks to Andy Lane, guy who posted, realised there was some kind of grille on the front there, and it's probably to protect the radiator against, you know, stone chips and flies and stuff like that from getting damaged. So so I bought this piece of aluminium. You're going to need to cut it into pieces and screw it into the front grille there. So that's what I'll concentrate on now. One down, two to go. So it's a bit of a fiddly job, but it's in now. Yeah, so I'll continue with the plastic bits. So I'll spread those with a bit of clear coat. Let's see if what they look like back on the car. So the next thing I'll concentrate on is I'll clean these lights up a bit, take them to pieces, and see what they look like. Yeah, they look okay, although a bit non-standard, I would say. But, yeah, I'll just clean that up. I think it looks to be okay, and I'll test it and see if it works and put it back on the car. So I've just put in the earth connections for the lights on both sides, and that, ladies and gents, is that. And that is the finished article, ready to go back on the car. Yeah, I can bolt it back on the car.